Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames, and today we are going to be playing some monsters. We're going to start with Gruul monsters, which is the traditional monsters deck. However, I'm planning to also play some Golgari monsters. So that's a deck that I brewed a while ago and made a couple changes to, and so we'll see how that goes. But we're going to start with Gruul because that's the main monsters deck. So we are trying to, basically we're an aggro deck that just happens to play 5 and 6 drops because we're able to ramp into them so quickly. And so we're doing that with ramping with Arbor Elf, Utopia Sprawl, and Wild Growth. And because I didn't want to just play a boring old Gruul monsters list, just joking there. But Emerald Charm is something that I tried out in a previous video a couple months ago, and I think it has a little bit of promise. I want to try it again. So the main use for this is that it's a one-time use for Arbor Elf activation, untap target permanent. So if we have 2 or 3 enchantments, or even just 1 on a land, this can produce mana, basically as a ritual, which could be good enough to get out an earlier, or at least a more reliable, 5-drop or 6-drop or whatever on a specific turn. It also has a little other utility. Target creature loses flying until end of turn. Not irrelevant because there's so much flying in the format, and we have the initiative, which obviously flyers are really bad against, or rather good against us, and so it's good to have a way to get rid of the flying, to just block if we don't have one of our reachers. It can also destroy a non-aura enchantment, makeshift munitions, or an Nyxborn Hydra that's not bestowed, things like that. There's definitely some utility for it. So I figured we would try this out a little bit more. We're playing some Malevolent Rumbles, a couple of Ram-Throughs for some removal, Eldrazi Repurposer, Jewel Thief, Bannerhide Cruciak, Writhing Chrysalis, Avenging Hunter, Boarding Party, Annoyed Altasaur, and then just a 1 of Nyxborn Hydra. It's great in the deck, obviously, but if you cascade into it, which a lot of decks don't play the Altasaur anymore, but if you do, it feels like running a playset of Hydras is pretty tough because it's just more dead draws. Obviously, we already have quite a few dead hits, or at least very underwhelming hits from the Cascade, but ideally we're going to be hitting our 5 drops, or at least our 3 drops. And then our sideboard here, Breath Weapon, Weather the Storm, Heritage Reclamation, Deglamour, and some Relics of Progenitus. So let's just jump into a league and see how we do. We're starting with Gruul monsters here. Make sure we have the right deck list. Emerald Charm, perfect. Let's submit that and jump in. Hey Ben, how's it going? Gonna play some Esper Gates tonight in Paper. Hell yeah, that's sweet. I'm gonna play some Paper myself tonight. Haven't really decided what I'm gonna play. Not exactly sure. I'm sure it'll be something enjoyable, though. All right, round 1 here. And yeah, we got a turn 2 Repurposer into, I think that's like a turn 4 Boarding Party, but this looks good enough. And doesn't really matter which one of these we put on here. We might as well do the Wild Growth because we already have our red mana. So this would let us play more Sprawls or whatever, I think. Then again, Sprawl has to go on a forest, so maybe there's something there. I could have done something different because now I can't put these on this and use it in the same turn. Unless we top deck a forest. Yeah, so I could have, if I played the Sprawl, I could Wild Growth here and then still tap for enough. Whereas now I just have to Repurposer. Yeah, that was a mistake a bit. So I could just Repurposer, or I could double Sprawl, which doesn't get us a Boarding Party unless we hit a land. But it is our best bet to try to get there. So I think we're just going to do that. 1 on green, 1 on red. Try and Snacker in it tonight, replacing Refurb. Okay. Yeah, since your gates, I guess Refurb's definitely harder to get going. Obviously, in the Affinity version, Refurb would not be something you'd want to replace, but I think that seems reasonable enough. Okay, they had a Bogle turn 1, but now they just have a Sprawl. That's not very impressive. We could lose to them if they just get an enormous creature before we do that can gain life and whatnot, but I would have loved a land drop there, but I suppose these will be coming down next turn. Yeah, I think even if I had played those correctly before, I wouldn't have been able to play a Boarding Party this turn, but I could have had the Repurposer last turn, so there still could have been better, for sure. There's an Abundant Growth and an Ethereal Armor. Gotta just take the 4 here. Well, I could jump with the Repurposer, but I'm not gonna jump with the Spawn, because then I don't have a reliable Boarding Party. But we get a forest, so we can play Boarding Party anyway. Here we go, Cascading. Jewel Thief, yeah, it's a reasonable hit. Yeah, Refurb was always awkward for me. Bumped up the card draw as well. Yeah, seems like it makes sense. We get to hit for 9 here. So they still only have 2 mana. So I guess if they hit a land and then like an Armadillo Cloak, they could gain 7. But we can deal them 12, 18 next turn. So that wouldn't even keep them alive unless they leave it back. Rancor, and another Ethereal Armor. Okay, so that's 13 damage on us, but they're dead if they attack this turn, which they can see on board, but that's enough. We can get through. We just play a Boarding Party and we can just win. I guess that makes sense. Sprawl, cast a Boarding Party. They can block 1, but then they're taking 12. And we get an Avenging Hunter. Why not? Attack with everything but this Spawn. They block a boarding party, they get to first strike it down, and then they're going to take 12. So nice quick game there. Against Bogles, we get Deglamour and Heritage Reclamation, and can cut Ram through because we probably can't target their guy. Emerald Charm is specifically non-aura enchantments. That's a bit unfortunate. I think that might be one to cut just because we need to cut some stuff here in that case. And honestly, Avenging Hunter, like, there's no way we can prevent them. I mean, obviously, it's pretty decent just to attack them, but there's no way we can really protect the initiative definitively, because they could just gain an enormous amount of power and trample. The game's also not going to go long enough for passing the initiative back to be super relevant. They could just have like a Solana Ledgewalker, which could like take it, I guess, if I don't have reach. I don't know. We'll cut a couple of those. Why not? Nothing till turn 3, and then we're just playing like 3-drop, 4-drop. That doesn't seem very good. This one needs another land, or preferably an aura to ramp us. But it does have a Deglamour, and then it's unlocked once we hit 1 more mana. I guess we'll try it. Get rid of a Jewel Thief. We're also on the draw, which means we can keep anything, you know? Glade Cover Scout. Okay, Bannerhide doesn't really do much. They play a Ledgewalker, and they swing, understandably. We will not be blocking. Yeah, that's not great. I mean, we can remove any enchantment they play this turn. Utopia Sprawl on white. Armadillo Cloak. We'll get rid of the cloak. Might as well take less damage and use our mana that we can. Boarding Party. I thought you could keep any hand if you're on the draw. That's what I've always been told. Abundant Growth, Ancestral Mask. I mean, we do have quite a few turns to get out of this, assuming they don't keep drawing good enchantments, because I get to get rid of this. Hi, have a great stream. Thanks, I appreciate it. We do hit our land, so we get to play Repurposer. Jewel Thief gives us red, but even if I draw like a Wild Growth, I'm not going to be able to play a Boarding Party this next turn. So I think I'll just do a Repurposer. And they just swing for 1, and another Ledgewalker, okay. Not too scary at the moment. And we're getting into this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't really want to sack this, though, if we don't have to. So we're just going to play a Jewel Thief, which gives us 5. If I can draw a land or a enchantment, a mana enchantment next turn, then I can play a Boarding Party. Abundant Growth, Bequeathal on the Glade Cover Scout. Nice. So they're going to start attacking with that so they can draw cards. Oh, sure, they'll leave it back. That makes sense. I'll take 2. There's a Utopia Sprawl. Put that on red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we'll cast a Boarding Party. The Bequeathal is a little annoying because they get to chump and just draw 2. Chump the Boarding Party. But we're definitely going to cast this, get our Cascade off. And even if we hit mana, it's actually not bad because we could use the mana to play our other spells. But we're not going to not attack, like leave back all of these because they're just going to keep this around. So might as well get through it. And they're down to 11, so we already have lethal on them here. Plus we can play another Boarding Party. They're in some trouble for sure. They get a Sprawl. A lot of mana for them over there, which could be problematic if they have like an Ancestral Mask and one other enchantment. We will just die. Ethereal Armor plus something else. They could just attack with a Ledgewalker, but then another Boarding Party, which I have, will kill them, just like last turn. Or they could leave them both back. But they go for the attack. I guess they could have another Chump Blocker. Yeah, with Flying. Right. Reach doesn't block this, so my Altasaur actually can't get there. Oh, well that's great. That's exactly what we needed. Trample for this Boarding Party. We can also give it, 5 counters, and then it'll be lethal. Because if we just played another Boarding Party, they could chump, and only take like 6. But lucky draw for us. The Hydra, and swing. All right, we won match 1. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a League video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. All right, here we have way too many lands. We have a turn 3 Bannerhide Crucial, and that's it. If we exclusively draw, like if we draw a 3-drop next turn and then, a bunch of other stuff, it's good, but like we have a lot of dead draws so that I don't think that's worth it. This one we'll keep though. Get rid of one of the Jewel Thieves. Pass. Scoured Barrens. Okay, could be like Orzhov Blade. I actually played the Wild Growth specifically here in case I draw another Wild Growth, because then I could just Malevolent Rebel try to find a land. There is the possibility of whiffing, plus I could just Wild Growth Utopia Sprawl, which I feel like is better. And then the Sprawl was obviously going to go on red. Helpful Hunter. Oh, we just get a Chrysalis. I guess we just cast that. I mean, we're still not hitting a land drop, but we get to develop a 4/5, plus it lets us boarding party next turn. So that seems good. Good enough to me. Cast down, sure. I guess that's fine. We'll take a damage and boarding party. Can't go wrong casting the best creature in the format. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I mean, I don't think there's a reason to cast anything else. Let's just go for the boarding party. At this stage, like, we're pretty satisfied getting mana or getting something enormous like a Hunter. In fact, Hunter's great because we also get our land. Poor cat. Yeah, well, it gets to live another turn here. If they'd left it back, it would be hitting the graveyard this turn, but it definitely doesn't look long for this world. They could cast down the Hunter and then attack with the Helpful Hunter. Oh, yeah, Hunter. We both have Hunters. They are equally scary, am I right? Skyfisher, just pick up the Hunter and replay it. Raven Charm. Okay, nice. Sure. They even get, if they want, they don't have to bounce the Hunter and they can take the initiative. Of course, I can just probably take it back unless they want to chump with the Skyfisher. Hunter, exactly right. This is what everyone's been causing a fuss about for the last few years. There's a mountain. We do have some ram-throughs in our main deck, but I guess I can't find those off Rumble, so not a reason to cast Rumble. I probably will. I guess I could just attack, and then I could play down 2 of these. I might actually want to forge onto like the Jewel Thief, though, so I guess I play these pre-combat. I'm pretty satisfied if they want to block anyway, or if they don't. And then this lets me next turn Rumble and even cast like a 6 or maybe a 7 drop, depending on our mana. Swing for 6. They take it. So I'm going to forge on the Trampler. They're going to take it back with the Skyfisher, probably pump up the Hunter. Or they could scry here if they really need to find some removal or something, but honestly, counters on the Hunter lets them block the boarding party and trade, which isn't too bad. Another Skyfisher, bounce the first Skyfisher, okay, to get another blocker, sure. Repurposer, let's just start with a Rumble, because if I get a boarding party, I'm going to want to play it pre-combat. We don't, but we get an Annoyed Altasaur. Or a Hunter. I think just the Altasaur, though. And that I'm going to cast pre-combat because it, too, could get a boarding party. If we're extremely lucky. Which, we don't hit we don't hit a boarding party, but we hit a Hunter, which is pretty good. Although we were going to take the initiative probably this turn anyway. So this just gets us it pre-combat. Alright, well, we win that game. Looks like it could be Orzhov Blade, but obviously the Hunter is a little different than I'm used to. I imagine if they're playing Skyfishers, they're probably playing Tithing Blades and or Lembas, though, so Heritage Reclamation's probably fine, because it cycles at the worst. I don't really want to bring into Glamour, because we don't yet know if it's actually good enough. And Emerald Charm continues to potentially be good as like a ritual, and making their Skyfisher lose flying could be pretty relevant. Emerald Charm, spicy. Yeah! Something I tried out in a video playing this deck a couple months ago that I didn't hate. I thought it was interesting enough to try again, so that's what we're doing today. This one's not the most exciting. It's not very fast. We do just have 2-drop, 3-drop, but no ramp at all. Feels like generally you don't want to be playing that. I think I'm going to get rid of that. Hello. How's it going, Wombat? This has the ramp, but no lands, obviously. Alright, this one's decent. Although, if I put back Wild Growth, I guess I put back Ram Through. I don't need the removal. I'm playing against one of your friends right now, a big player in the Austin Pauper scene. Okay, nice. Raven Inspector. And they did not have another land drop. That's rough. I mean, we can't Chrysalis this turn, but we can just Wild Growth and Sprawl. If I do all of these right here, what are the chances they have any way to blow up our land? Pretty low. I think we'll just go for it. Keeping one lander, yeah, seems a little risky, especially when it's a tap land. Even with a couple Inspectors. I mean, we don't have a very good hand here, but we did mulligan down. And I think they kept, yeah, they kept 7. Wombat, really appreciate this subscription. Thank you so much. Hope the Hedron serves you well. Alright, well, we have a million mana here, which will be good when we draw some other stuff. Sprawl onto this. Icequake from the sideboard. Yeah, I was trying to think how likely that was, and I decided it was probably not likely enough. I know some decks were playing like Contaminated Ground in the sideboard a while ago. Oh, perfect. When, what was this? It was when like Ponza was at its peak, like right before Modern Horizons 3, I think. But it's not super popular at the moment, so I don't really expect that. Well, Altasaur into Chrysalis. With them on one land, I think this will probably just be good enough. But they could hit a land drop and then just have a handful of removal, so it might not be over yet. I already have 7 mana in our lands, though, so I probably don't need these spawn. So I think I'm just going to sacrifice them to deal some extra damage. Oh, unless they just jump, in which case I currently don't need to. They could have an Ephemerate, I suppose? Okay, sure. Nice. Certainly between the cat and the plays, some weird choices here. Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with... the cat's expensive for what it does, but you know, I certainly don't mind people trying out something different. But this definitely seemed like a sketchy keep, I would say. They have all the clues in the world, but hard to crack them with 1 mana. We'll see if they have another Ephemerate. Avenging Hunter's pretty good, though. So we just get to swing all these guys, crack the spawn, so we're getting in for... They're all 6 power. They're going to chump the Chrysalis Seas, so there's no reason to crack them, though. Play an Avenging Hunter, keep a forest, and play that. Well, they hit their second land. Let's see if they have a balance. The Raven Charm to deal 0 damage. Nice. Alright, well, we get that one. On to the next match. Round 3 here, and we have an outrageous amount of ramp into 1 Avenging Hunter, but I think that's good enough. Even if our Arbor Elf dies, we have... Is this still a turn 3 Hunter? I'm not sure. But we'll start with the Arbor Elf, certainly, because if that resolves, I can get all of these ramp spells down next turn. If that resolves and doesn't die, that is. Oh, Sleep of the Dead, okay. Not dead, but they do tax it for a bit. Ooh, Emerald Charm? I don't think this quite does what I need it to. We're so close. Emerald Charm almost being the ritual I need here, right? Because I can do this and I can sprawl it. Actually, if I sprawl, I can't do it. I can untap here for 3 mana. Yeah, I can't quite get there, but that's okay. We still just have Avenging Hunter this next turn, even if you can sleep this again or whatever. I guess this could be a little risky, although obviously I'm going to do it with the Arbor Elf. Most lists, I'm assuming they're Terror, most lists run... Nice. I was going to say most of them run Demon Inferior right now instead of Boomerang, so they can't bounce my land, but they can get rid of this. I'm going to shuffle it away anyway with this Avenging Hunter, so it really doesn't matter. So I'll put it on the bottom. Luckily, I have the 5 mana for the Hunter even without that, but they're doing what they can. Mountain, Avenging Hunter, pull out a forest, play that. Mental Note, Deep Analysis Milled, and they just have 1 mana Terrors. If they play 2 Terrors, we're kind of cooked. If they don't, we could be okay. I can Forge here. I could have Scryed to try to hit more than just this, but it didn't seem like the best. Cast a Sprawl. We're going to attack. I can use Emerald Charm to untap to try to ambush the Terror, which we very well might do. They're not going to have instant speed ways to deal with the Hunter probably, so they might have to spend a counterspell to get rid of the Charm, which is something I'd be pretty happy with. They go for Thought Scour, Island Brainstorm. Yeah, I don't think there's any risk really of our Hunter getting like destroyed here. So again, this probably just forces like a counterspell, which is pretty decent value for the Emerald Charm at this point. I mean, a Dispel, we don't actually play that many instants. These and a couple Ram-Throughs are the only ones, but I'll take it over nothing. Obviously, I'd prefer to eat the Terror, but wasn't really expecting that. And now they could just sleep the Hunter again, or looks like they might have a Demon Inferior again. No, because they'd have to pay 3 for that. Serpent and a Delver. Serpent trades here if I can't find a way to pump it. Bannerhide, or that was the other one I was going to say. I mean, that's an incredible draw. Nyxborn for 6, so this just hits for 13. They can block 6 of it, and then they get to Forge, so they can survive at 1 here. But that is... man, for only having 1 Nyxborn Hydra in the game, we've now top-decked it at the perfect time twice. So this is what you want to do. You want to only play 1 copy of your best card, so you draw it at the right time. You understand? If they just block with Serpent, they die, because of they absorb 5, but then they get trapped for 5. So they block with the Delver. They will survive at 1, and because of the Sleep of the Dead, I could definitely still lose this. But, I mean, that's still a pretty good trade for us. We get to put them to 1 and kill 2 of their creatures, which slows their clock considerably. They're going to sleep this, which is even better than deeming it inferior, because if they did that, the Hydra would be around. Imagine I top deck my other Emerald Charm to untap this for lethal. Oh, that'd be so good. They go for a Forge. Shouldn't really matter. Like, I guess Trap lets them kill me next turn, so that's probably why they want to do it. Come on, something good. Okay, that's good. Although they could just have a counterspell. I mean, if we get super lucky, we go into Boarding Party, into Hunter. Repurposer, I guess that's fine. Good blockers. And because they're at 1, just all 3 of these are lethal. Hard for them to tap everything, so they probably will counter the Altasur here, I would guess. But they don't. Maybe they don't have a counterspell. They do get to trap us, but unless they can get rid of all 3 of our creatures, or they have just like an Artful Dodge, we're not going to die. Thought Scour and Cyclo-Olorian. I guess if they need to, they could just sleep this, and the Repurposer gets blocked, or even the Altasur gets blocked. They could just sleep this and this. But they have to sleep 2 of these creatures, or deal with 2 of them to not die here. And they have to do that every single turn. So they do have the initiative, gaining advantage, but they're going to run out of graveyard at some point, ideally, or ideally we just get like a Boarding Party to win the game, or Bannerhide Crew Shock buffing the spawn would also win the game. So that would work too, which means we have a lot of good hits. 4 boarding parties. I think we have 3 banner hides. Come on. Hey, there we go. Cast a boarding party. Cascade into a hunter. Our cascades have been largely very, very good. We both get to draw a card here from the archives, and we get to attack them for lethal, which is maybe a little better. All right, we play relics here. We don't have Pyroblast or anything because we're not mainly red. I think the Emerald Charms having utility against Sleep of the Dead is actually a really good reason to keep them around. Not to mention it can make a Delver drop to the floor. Ram Through is pretty decent too, though. I think Reclamation, getting only 1 spell from the grave isn't really worth it. So I think we're just bringing in relics. Rumble can find a relic, so we're probably going with, like, I don't know, cutting some of these. That's probably fine. Alright, turn 1, Sprawl. And then we have the Emerald Charm to get to 3 mana for this, but that's pretty bad. Not to mention if Sprawl gets countered, we're just screwed. So gotta mulligan that one. This one's not great either, but we have a relic for the early turns. We have no ramp at all. I don't think I can go lower, though, is the problem. So do we put back a Hunter or a boarding party because it's most expensive? And the ramp is not really coming, I guess. Not at the moment. And of course, Relic can get countered in a million ways here, but we're gonna just try it anyway. There's an Annul. Hello, Trash Man, how's it going? There's the Delver. Okay. 3 drops not bad. Better than nothing. Brainstorm, so Delver's gonna flip. Doing alright. Got some work to do, but Friday. Yeah, I gotcha. Understandable. Flip a Thought Scour, then Mental Note. Could just play a 5/5 here. All we have is a 3/3. That's not very good. Yep, there's the Terror. Jewel Thief. We're taking 8. Another Delver. A Serpent. Sure. I could Banner Hide onto this. An attack. Ram through a Serpent. I could Repurposer. Although if we ram through not on a Delver, it feels like we're going to just die to flyers. So I could play Repurposer, double block, Terror, and chump the Serpent. And then ram through a Delver. Could have a counter spell, so maybe I should just do that now. But then I have to use the Treasure, and I really want to not, because I could do this during combat and use the Spawn that I jump with. Yeah, I think we're going to risk it. Although if I see them flip a counter spell here, I might have to just do it now. Demon Inferior. Well, that's pretty good. Play an island, play a Team Inferior. So then I have to chump. Or I could chump trade, because I can Banner Hide onto this. Then I get a Spawn. Then I have 5 mana. I can Hunter, but then I can't ram through. Put that on the bottom, I guess. Because if I don't block the Terror here, well, Terror or the Serpent. I guess we do this. Buff this up. Yeah. Hump here, they trade. We get a Spawn. And then if I get a land... Oh, it doesn't matter, because I forgot that I'm at 3, so both aberrations are lethal. I can kill one with a Hunter, ram through combo, and then I just died at the other one. Alright, fair enough. No lands, not going to keep that one. Alright, this one's got an Arbor Elf. I guess we'll pitch the boarding party. Boarding party is so good. I think maybe it's the Hunter, because Hunter gets countered a lot easier, even though it's cheaper and also very good. Well, I hope they don't counter the Rumble, but okay, they didn't. Sprawl we need for red for everything in our hand, plus just ramp, so I think we take that, and they didn't counter this, so maybe they won't counter the Sprawl. Although they annulled our Relic, didn't they? So they could just have an annul here. Yeah, that's annoying. But if I just grabbed a Forest, that like wouldn't really get me closer to playing these guys, so not sure that would have been better. Forest, 5 mana. We're gonna pass. So I could play a Hunter here, but they clearly have counterspell mana up, so it probably wouldn't be resolving either way. Mental Note, get rid of a couple Thought Scours. Pass. Mountain. Alright, we'll cast a Rumble. See if they want to counter that. They do. I guess I missed 1 damage last turn. Bit of a mistake. Gut Shot. That's pretty annoying. Terror. I mean, there's a Relic. They have a counterspell for it. Swing for 5. We've seen 1 Sprawl, so we have 3 Sprawls. We have 2 Mountains and 3 Jewel Thieves to be able to play our red mana spells. I don't usually have issue casting our spells. Then again, it's partially because they countered the way that we had to make red. But there's something. If they have a Sleep of the Dead, they can just tap both of our Spawn. So we'll be dead, but what are you going to do? Brainstorm, block, Serpent, and a Delver. I mean, if I can get a Mountain, Wild Growth, not the right one, or a Sprawl down, then I could have played a Chrysalis, which could block everything here, and then I could play another Chrysalis, which could then start really blocking, and then I definitely could have won that one, but alright, that's a bit unfortunate. It's either Red Madness or Blue Terror in it. That is often the case, for sure, but our first 2 matches were not either of those, so, not always the case, but Definitely very prevalent decks in the format at the moment. Luckily, I don't think either of them are the worst deck ever to play against, but I do prefer to play against a wide range of decks, and it can get repetitive. This hand looks really good, especially on the play here. At least the games versus Madness are quick. Sometimes. Depends on how well you can fight against it. If you're also an aggro deck, or, you know, like a black sack or something like that, certainly the game's going to go quick either way, probably, because you're both going to try to win quickly. But the other types of decks that are best against mono red Madness are like the slow, tons of life gain decks, I feel like Gardens or Pestilence. Pestilence more, because it has all the food, but stuff like that can definitely take a little while. All right, well, they have a great Furnace, so probably not Madness. It's going to be the other one, Rally. Utopia Sprawl. Bit awkward, this mountain, because I can't actually play like a 4-drop here, because I have to like enchant this way. I could enchant over here, but this can only untap a forest, of course. It's not the end of the world, it's fine. I could still just sprawl on... we already have red here. I guess I'll just do more green, honestly. Then I could play another Arbor Elf. Probably makes the most sense. If they have like an End the Festivities, it's kind of very bad, but what are you gonna do? I sometimes brew a deck or see a brew and I'm happy. Then I think, how will this deck be Red Madness? It won't. Okay. Yeah, it is. Oh, actually, it looks like we're against some sort of... Is it? Or it could be a Grixis Affinity, but these are both not standard in current Grixis Affinity. Definitely an interesting Affinity deck. That's a pretty good draw. Let's see, I can play a Chrysalis and then an Altasaur. Yeah, I definitely have brewed some decks that are like, oh, they seem okay against the majority of the meta, but then one of the main decks they just kind of lose against, and that is unfortunate. But when you're playing in a competitive environment, you definitely have to, your decks have to be able to deal with the main decks. So whether it's Madness or Terror or Jund or whatever the primary deck is at the time, yeah, you're going to have to be able to go up against them, or at least have a decent matchup, and otherwise you're going to have trouble. Looks like we might be getting Metallic Rebuked here. Okay. A bit unfortunate, but not the end of the world. I think we're doing fine. Excuse me. Chris is going to be huge. We have a Repurposer, which can currently attack in pretty well. I think we'll be alright. And I got to assume they still have Mirror Enforcers and stuff like that. Paying 2 mana for it, though? That is embarrassing. But I was going to say, Chrysalis is currently way bigger than Mirror Enforcer. I almost think they might just be Is It, which would be interesting. Or they're just missing their black mana, but they've been able to cast everything so far. Okay, they are Grixis, but they're just trying out some different cards. Fair enough. I guess that's reasonable. Ooh, we get a Sprawl. Let's start with a Rumble. Ugh. I was really hoping that would hit something relevant. I don't even think Arbor Elf matters. Like, the only way we would need this much mana is if we get a Nyxborn Hydra, whereas it's much more likely they hit like a Krark, wipe our whole board, and then a random land could be decent. So I'm just going to take a land here. But definitely not quite what we were hoping to hit. This could be a 6/7, so I can attack. They could triple block. I need 2 of these guys. That's not really what I want. I think we're just going to pass here. I mean, currently... they have no black mana for like a Toxin Analysis. If they do have a Krark, they're also wiping a bunch of their own creatures. It feels like if you're playing Epic here and Frogmite, you probably shouldn't be playing Krark Clan Shaman, but what do I know? Rebuke is also not like, it's not super crazy to be playing, but it's also not usually pretty standard. Not super standard at this point in Grixis Affinity, so feels like they just are doing a little bit of their own take on the deck. Attack with the Mirror Enforcer. So I got to assume that they have a Galvanic Blast. I block here. They kill the Chrysalis, which I don't want. But I don't really see a reason to take damage here, so I'm just going to chump. Because we have tons of mana. I guess by chumping here, if we get another Chrysalis, it's going to be a little smaller. I think that's fine. I just don't want to take damage, and then if they have like 3 Galvanic Blasts and or makeshift munitions, we just die for no good reason when like we're in a better spot than they are right now. We do need to draw something, but we have I mean, probably 20 good draws. Like any of our 4 drops or higher, and there's our Hydra. So we probably want to play around 1 Metallic Rebuke, which should be easy because we have so much mana. So let's just tap this a million times, bestow onto the Chrysalis. I'm doing Chrysalis because it can't die to a Galvanic Blast right now, whereas if I go for the Repurposer, I could have 2 big threats, but the Repurposer could just die to a Galvanic, and then we waste like 10 damage from a Hydra this turn. X is currently 10. Yeah, they could have Rebuke, but so I think I can crack one of these safely. Let's do that. Hydra's given plus 11, 16, 17. Swing with that. Oh, I could have swung with the Repurposer too. Probably should have. Not really a reason not to. They're gonna take it down to 4. All right. I mean, that was pretty good. They have to have something. Yeah, Galvanic Blast us. I guess their best shot is just to kill us here, but gonna be a tough one for sure for them. Even if they have another Furnace, Galvanic Blast, double Galvanic Blast, like they're not going to kill us, and then we have blockers, so we'll be fine. Alright, well, we get our Declaimers and our Heritage Reclamations. Emerald Charm, probably not necessary here. cut Repurposer. I think since we're getting all the Deglammers and the Heritages, we probably don't need these Ram Throughs. Cut this Rumble, I suppose. Alright, yeah, I mean, good enough. Arbor Elves hopefully won't die. I mean, if the Arbor Elves die, as long as we keep hitting lands and or ramp enchantments, we'll be fine. But if we don't and just keep hitting 5 and 6 drops, then obviously things will go south at that point. But we'll see. They got a Ginger Brute, okay, and an Ornithopter. Yeah, so we didn't see this before. They're definitely trying to be an aggro affinity deck instead of like a mid-range deck. Ginger Brute, Ornithopter, Voldaren Epicure, Frogmite. They're trying to get out their Mirror Enforcers on like turn 3. Ooh, well, they could have a Rebuke here, which would be annoying. We'll take one. Jewel Thief. That's better than another Arbor Elf. Obviously, it gets countered just the same, but if they don't have the counterspell, we'll want it. Oh, and they don't. Nice. Actually, wait. I guess I should just play this Arbor Elf. It's the same mana-wise if nothing changes, but if I top deck a Ramp Enchantment, it's more mana. And if they, Croak Clan our board, then it's less. But I have to assume they don't play Croak Clan Shaman, at least in the main deck, if they're like this aggressive with this many creatures on the ground. Do have Vault of Whispers. They're still playing black, so I assume Refurbs are still in the deck, which makes sense. Refurb's good enough even in an aggro deck, but we certainly haven't seen any reason for the black yet. There's an Enforcer, 1 card left. Discarding to their blood, it looks like. No, deciding against it. Oh, saving a blue mana, sure. Discard a land. Yeah, they're probably playing Thoughtcast still. They top deck an Ornithopter. That's pretty useless. Okay, Ginger Brute. So hopefully we draw a Ramp Enchantment here. Nope. Okay, well I could make Jewel Thief a 5/5 with Reach with this Hydra and Vigilance and start attacking. If they want to double block, that's fine. It lets us hold back a blocker. Otherwise, I just play a Hydra for 3. That doesn't do much. Yeah, I think, obviously it's not as good as an Avenging Hunter this turn, but I think a Hydra on the Jewel Thief is not bad at all. It lets us start getting in for damage while still holding back a blocker, making the blocker big enough to block the Mirror Enforcer, and all that stuff. Also, it doesn't die to a Galvanic Blast now. Hydra plus Jewel Thief is hot stuff. Yeah, for sure. Like, those abilities all combo perfectly. I mean, Vigilance and Trample, Jewel Thief already has, but the Reach is really nice. They also attack with Ornithopters. Clearly they're playing ninjas and they just top decked one of them, but we do get to eat an Ornithopter, which is kind of nice. I wasn't sure. I was thinking about saying they might be playing ninjas because of the Ornithopters, but I thought maybe it was just to ramp their guys out. But yeah, it's real nice having an enormous Vigilance Trampler. Obviously bigger than 5/5 would be nice, but this is definitely proving adequate at the moment. And that's a good draw, because that lets us get into these while also having a nice blocker. So let's swing with the Jewel Thief. They do go for the double block, but we still have a 2/3 reacher, so like they still can't get in with the Ornithopter. Okay, they decide against it actually. Also acceptable. Play our Chris, pass the turn. There's the Refurb. We have 6 mana now. I think 2 Boarding Parties is probably better than 2 Avenging Hunters in this position. Also, Avenging Hunter is still a little bit of a liability because Ginger Brute can always get in until we have a Boarding Party on defense, which is probably not going to happen at all. Although they might not have a basic to get, so I wouldn't have to worry about like the first thing there. Wild Growth. So I tap green for that, but then that means this makes 2, 4, 5, 6. Nice. So I get to keep a spawn, which makes it easier to play the next guys. Yeah, so we're just going to Boarding Party here. Enormous Attacker, which trades with like a Mirror Enforcer, but then they don't trade for the Jewel Thief, unless they want to put this, and this in front of the Jewel Thief, which is also fine. Oh, and we get a Deglammer. Probably just on the Mirror Enforcer, which can block and trade with the Boarding Party. I think we'll swing with the Chrysalis too. They have to block Boarding Party. They could take this, but that's 9 damage, putting them to 1. Seems bad. They do just do that. Okay. I guess I could put him to 2, leave the spawn. I think that's probably... I could put him to 1, and then the Arbor Elves are also lethal, which might be better, but if I'm attacking with the Arbor Elves, I'm not playing the Boarding Party from hand, which just seems like a bad idea. I mean, winning could be good if we do that, but like, I don't know. We're already going to have 4 lethal attackers, one of which has Trample, so it's pretty much lethal no matter what. I don't think I need to like make the Arbor Elves lethal here, I guess. Although we already have 7 mana here. Probably wasn't a big downside. I don't know. I think we'll probably be fine. Yeah, we get that game and match. What's a card do you think should be downshifted to common? Well, just one card? I mean, I've been making, for the last 6 months, I've been making shorts on YouTube and various other platforms about cards that I think would be really cool to downshift to common. So there's quite a few. My most recent one was Fiend Hunter. I think would be a sweet downshift. It's an iconic card, by no means too powerful. We already basically have the same effect in Faceless Butcher, but it's 4 mana and black, and if it was 3 mana and white, then you can ephemerate combo it, kind of like you do with the Mesmeric Fiend, sacrificing it to permanently exile a card from their hand. So I think that would be a sweet one to see. What else have I said recently? A Johnny's Pridemate, of course. I'm not personally dying to get a life gain deck, but I don't think it would be too powerful. It would potentially make life gain viable. And again, another iconic card. Like, there are tons of non-iconic cards that I would love to see downshifted, but the iconic ones are just like, well, Pauper is just the perfect haven for all these iconic cards. It already plays Lightning Bolt and all these other ones that I would love to see more. Atraxa Grand Unifier. Yes, that's definitely on my short list for Pauper. I just, like, there's no way you could really break it, and I don't know. It just feels like we really, really need a 4-color payoff for Reanimator in the format. Would make 4-color decks viable? Maybe. I think it would make Reanimator a lot more viable, but I think Reanimator would only still be a 2-color deck. I don't think it would. I don't think it would actually go 4 colors. I think Intangible Virtue would be a sweet downshift. I think we have a couple go-wide decks, but we don't have any decks that are like, that's going to be brutal. We don't have any decks that specifically benefit you for having like tokens, and I think that'd be cool. Intangible Virtue, another pretty iconic card. Lingering Souls, of course, is a great card, another iconic one. I mean, Innistrad Block just has a million that are really good. It's pretty annoying they have the Lava Dart here, but what am I going to do? Not play this Arbor Elf? I will be playing it, so. Arbor Elf ramp? Yeah, it's definitely going to do that. Honestly, let's give Entomb a new home. I don't think Entomb needs to be downshifted either. That'd be a funny one for sure. But let's see what else. Oh, I mean, Guttural Response. Green really needs some counterspells, I think. And Guttural Response would be a pretty sick one. Forcing them to flashback Lava Dart is a form of land destruction. Yeah, I mean, if they might just have another Lava Dart in hand. But yeah, if they have to, that's part of why I'm happy to play it, is because, yeah, I might as well have them do that. Also, it wasn't even giving me anything this turn, so, like, yeah. Also, there's just no reason not to cast it, so. Yeah, Arbor Elf did fine work. The second one, the first one was pathetic. What else could be downshifted? I mean, I've made, like, 5 shorts about different green Stompy payoffs that I think should be downshifted so that we could get green Stompy back in the format. Of course, Stranglergeist is the big one everyone talks about. I think that's a good choice. There's also Leatherback Baloth, which is just a 4/5 for green, which seems decent enough. It dodges a lot of the removal in the format. I guess I'm just playing this Krushock. I just put out one about Saddled Rhymestag, which is a 2/2 for 2, but as long as a creature entered the battlefield under your control this turn, it's a 4/4. Gets +2/+2. So that seems like a sweet one. Yeah, there's a lot of cool ones. Downshift the Mill Crabs. I mean, I'm not super opposed to that necessarily. Like, I'm not like a Mill fanatic or anything, but like, I have no problem with Mill existing. It already does in some form with the Persistent Petitioners, but I think both crabs might be a little too much, because I know that that's a very low tier, but still a somewhat playable modern deck. But of course you have actual fetch lands there, whereas we do not. So, I don't know. I think it would probably be fine. Arbor Elf. Well, I'm attacking for 7 here. Yeah, I think if both crabs got downshifted, it might become almost too powerful. We do have fetch lands. Like, landscapes we've had fetch lands in some fashion for a while. Obviously, Evolving Wilds, terrible fetch land. And then we had the ones from New Capenna, which were pretty bad too, but at least they gained you a life. But now we have pretty decent fetch lands in the format. I'm not saying they're true fetch lands, but like for Pauper, they're very, very strong, the landscapes. And I think they could make the Mill Crabs a really strong deck. Enigma Drake, downshift it. I thought Enigma Drake was downshifted. Am I crazy? Oh, I guess not. Yeah, that would definitely be an easy one to downshift. I don't think we need anything like Crackling Drake that draws you a card as well, but like, and counts exile. But no, Enigma Drake I definitely think should be a downshifted one. I mean, it's kind of another like terror-like card, so do we really need another terror payoff? But yeah, bring back Is It Skred. Like, I think Is It Skred, Is It Control not being a deck that's very viable is a bummer, because I think that deck's sweet. And Enigma Drake could definitely help there, potentially. Oh, they just have the Fire Blast, double Fire Blast. It's got flying. Yeah, I mean, it's got differences from actual terror. I'm just saying it's another similar card that's going to pay off for having a bunch of spells in your grave, but I have no problem with Enigma Drake being downshifted. All right, just go ahead and do it. All right, we are dead. It dies to Hydroblast, unlike Terror. That's true. it also does take Galvanic Blast. There's a lot of differences. Terror has Ward, so like Terror would still be a better card. But it could be a reasonable downshift for sure. All right, we get Weather the Storm, and do we want to bring in Relics? Emeralds don't seem very good. Or Emerald Charm. What else? Kind of want to keep Ram through as a way to get rid of Gutter Snipes. We just need to honestly just keep a hand that's not based on Arbor Elves, because they just get demolished. All the Trample's really good, though, so I think we're cutting, like, Repurposers, because they don't have Trample. They're cheap. Maybe, like, a Boarding Party, honestly. Like, Boarding Party's great, but they just have... they have Snackers, they have Epicures, and this version they're running Masked Meowers, so there's just a lot of reasons to get rid of that. This has no ramp, just one Weather the Storm. Not good enough. I mean, this is pretty bad too, if our Arbor Elf dies, but I'm going to keep it and going to get rid of a Weather the Storm. Just 2 Weathers, like, doesn't keep us alive. I mean, it keeps us alive, it just doesn't, like, win us the game. So I think I'd rather have something to ramp into. Theoretically, if Arbor Elf doesn't die right here, I can play the Jewel Thief and then maybe get the Chrysalis. D-Spark could be a cool one, sure. I don't know how viable D-Spark would be, but I definitely would have no issue with it getting downshifted. And there are a lot of good, expensive creatures in the format. And permanents. I can hit Pestilence or Marmoring Mystic or whatever. There's a Flame Breather. Alright, Jewel Thief into Chrysalis, maybe into a Hydra, like, not bad at all. Destroy Evil variant, which is played. No, Destroy Evil is toughness 4 or greater. And this is mana value, which is a huge difference, because lots of creatures have mana value like 1 or 2 and can get big toughness, like Black Sack or a number of other decks. Like Nyxborn Hydra has one mana value. So, yeah, for that reason, I don't think D-Spark would see a ton of play. But anything that wouldn't see a ton of play, I would love to have in the format, because maybe it could find a home somewhere and could improve one deck or one style of deck, and then I'm very... happy with that deck having a new tool, and so I would have no problem with that. Next swing for 1. Alright, we get Chris here at the very least. The next turn I can Hydra onto Chris for a 7 power Trampler. That wins in a few turns. Another Flame Breather. We also kind of need a Ram Through, although I guess Weather the Storm, if we can just hold that up, is decent. There are a good number of permanents with 4 mana value. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that, that's true, but like, there are entire decks that don't have any, right? Like, Mono Red Madness, not a single spell except for Fire Blast that has mana value 4 or greater, no permanents. Black Sack doesn't have any. Like, there's definitely some that see play, but Pestilence is pretty non-meta. Like, it's, you know, it's like low meta at this point. Refurb's in a lot of decks, but also, like, you don't want to be spending your 2 mana premium removal spell, what it's supposed to be, to exile like a 2/1 flyer, you know? Alright, do I want to hold up Weather here? I guess actually I just attack, and then I just Jewel Thief here, and then I can still hold up Weather the Storm, and this lets me get a bigger Hydra next turn. So if I need to Weather so I don't die, I have it, and it's a bit protected, or it's a bit, what's the right word? Hidden, obfuscated, just because it's not just 2 mana that I'm holding up, right? I'm holding up Spawn and Treasures and whatnot. Grab the Prize, deals us 4. Snacker comes back. Lightning Bolts at the Jewel Thief. That's annoying. Now they can attack. Kitten. I mean, I'm going to get a big Weather off, but then killing the Jewel Thief's just pretty unfortunate. I'll block here, sacrifice, and... I mean, there's always a chance that they have 2 Fire Blasts in hand again, and they're going to, after damage, try to, like, kill us with them. Although, if they do, they could, like, respond to this with that. But if they don't, then I'm just, by passing and, like, giving them the opportunity to do that, I have to sack another Spawn, and I just don't want to do that because I have this Hydra and whatnot. So we're at 21. I mean, that's not a terrible spot to be in. They have a Highway Robbery that they plotted they're going to cast. Okay. Plus they have a Lava Dart in the graveyard. They just have everything. Okay, there's a Ram Through. I guess I Ram Through and I just don't do anything else. Because, like, what am I going to play? A 2-mana Hydra? No. And I'm not going to attack and let us take just as much damage. So let's just kill a Flame Breather here. I could give it Trample first, but I'm not concerned with dealing them damage at the moment. I'm just trying to survive. And if they have a Fire Blast, I can sack a Spawn in response, so they'd have to have... Well, they have a Lava Dart, actually. I guess they could Fire Blast plus Lava Dart. Yeah, it doesn't seem unreasonable for them, but they spend all that doing this. We take 4. They are gonna... Oh, they're just gonna Lava Dart us first, sure. Okay. Yeah, I could play a Hydra. I feel like this already... The Chrysalis already blocks everything nicely enough. I don't really need to throw down a Hydra. And we kind of need this Hydra on the Chrysalis to have a chance at winning here, I think. Though it's not looking great. We have 5 mana, so I can't even boarding party. But Avenging Hunter, I guess, would be fine. They pass here. We get a Forest, so I could make this an 8 Power Trampler. We're going to die before we can kill them, though. So do I just throw this on the spawn, or do I just throw it out by itself? I kind of think I don't do anything. We're fine. I mean, depending on how many removals or burn spells they have in hand, we could just be dead, but like, I don't know. What are you going to do about it? They bolt us. Specifically, just swing with these two. I mean, it almost feels like if they deal us 1 damage, we might just die. But I also kind of need this in case I get a boarding party, so I think we're just going to block here. And if we die, that's fine. So be it. Not really sure why they wouldn't attack with the Epic here, to be honest, though. Because they were looking to lose the kitten anyway, and the Snacker can come back, I suppose. Discarding a Fiery Temper. Gotcha. Trying to kill the Chrysalis. If I blocked the kitten, they couldn't do that, though. Well, Chrysalis down, and another Snacker. Crew Shock. I could play a Crew Shock, or I could play a Hydra here. It doesn't really matter. They can get in for like 4 if they attack all out, and then surely they're going to find a Bolt or something. I think we're just dead here, unfortunately. But, yeah, we got 3-2 with the deck. That's not terrible. The Emerald Charm came up only a couple times. Of course, we're only playing 2 of them, but, like, the losing flying didn't end up coming up. I guess we only drew it a couple times. I tried to untap one of our creatures to block a terror, and they had a counterspell, and then it was not quite enough mana to untap and gain, like, play an Avenging Hunter, so... It's probably still not the best, but I don't know. It still seems like there might be something there. Otherwise, the deck's, it's fine. It's decent enough. And I don't know. When I like having a bit of a quicker deck, which I was wanting to do tonight because I have some stuff to do in a bit. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.